Imagine a serene summer morning. December 1st, 1948. The sun is just beginning to paint the sky over Somerton Park Beach in Adelaide, South Australia. A gentle breeze, the rhythmic whisper of the waves, and then a discovery that would shatter the tranquility and birth a mystery so profound it would echo through the decades, taunting detectives, cryptologists, and armchair sleuths alike. This is the story of the Somerton Man, an enigma wrapped in a riddle, sealed with a whispered phrase, Tamám Shud, and we are about to unravel every single thread. Our story truly begins just after 6:30 a.m. Local businessman John Lyons and his wife are enjoying an early morning walk along the beach. Their peaceful stroll takes a sudden, disturbing turn. They notice a man lying against the seawall, head resting on the concrete, feet crossed. He seems to be sleeping deeply, perhaps enjoying the cool morning air after a late night. But something feels off. His appearance is deceptively calm. Dressed in a suit, tie, and highly polished shoes, he looks almost too neat for someone sleeping rough on a beach. A half-smoked cigarette lies on his lapel. John Lyons thinks to himself, he must be dead drunk. But as they pass, a strange detail catches their eye. Not a single insect, not a single fly, buzzes around him. Unusual for a warm summer morning. They dismiss it, thinking he's merely passed out. A detail that would become incredibly significant later. But our Somerton Man wasn't entirely unobserved. The previous evening, around 7 p.m., a couple named Proctor had seen him. He was lying in almost the exact same spot, extending his right arm rigidly, then dropping it. They assumed he was drunk and simply trying to find a comfortable position. Later, around 7:30 p.m., another couple, Mr. and Mrs. Magnuson, saw him too, noting his position had shifted slightly. He was still in that strange, rigid pose. Again, the assumption, drunkenness. It wasn't until 10:45 a.m. that two more witnesses, noticing the man hadn't moved, finally called the police. Constable Jimus arrive. The serene figure that so many had dismissed as merely intoxicated is quickly confirmed to be deceased. No signs of struggle, no obvious injuries. Just a quiet, dignified end on a public beach. Or was it? The man was well-built, athletic in appearance, approximately 40 to 45 years old, 5 feet 11 inches tall, with fair hair, hazel eyes, and a broad chest. He was clean-shaven. His dental records revealed an unusual and distinctive set of teeth. Perfect, except for 4 missing upper front teeth, a detail that would later prove crucial in attempts to identify him. His hands and feet were surprisingly small for his build. He looked like someone who took care of himself, someone who belonged, not a vagrant. His clothing was another riddle. A white shirt, red and blue tie, brown trousers, socks, and shoes. All of excellent quality. But here's the twist. Every single identifying label had been meticulously cut from his clothes. His jacket, his trousers, his underwear gone. A deliberate act of removal. Why? Who goes to such lengths to erase their identity? His pockets offered little more. A used train ticket from Adelaide to Henley Beach, a bus ticket from the city, a packet of Army Club cigarettes, and a box of Bryant and May matches. No wallet, no cash, no case, no identification. Not even a handkerchief. It was as if someone had deliberately stripped him of everything that could tie him to a name, a home, a life. The autopsy was conducted by Dr. Dwyer. The initial findings were startling. No obvious cause of death. No signs of violence. No poison detected in standard tests. His internal organs were congested, particularly his spleen, which was 3 times its normal size. He had blood mixed with food in his stomach. The doctor concluded he likely died from heart failure, possibly exacerbated by an unknown poison or even a natural cause. But the lack of external marks, the unusual internal findings, and the complete absence of identity screamed foul play, or at the very least, a highly unusual death. Just as detectives were hitting a wall, a new lead emerged. On January 14th, 1949, police found an unclaimed brown suitcase at the Adelaide railway station, left in the cloakroom on November 30th, the day before the Somerton Man was discovered. Could this be his? The timing was too perfect to ignore. Inside the suitcase, more clothes, a dressing gown, slippers for pairs of underpants, pajamas, toiletries, and some other small items. And just like the clothes on the man's body, every single identifying label had been cut out. But not every label. A unique made in the USA label was found on a coat, and a T-Keen dry cleaning tag on a laundry bag. Could Keen be a name or a red herring? Among the suitcase's contents was some unusual knitwear, a coat of a particularly fine European-style weave, and some socks. A local seamstress, impressed by the quality, suggested that some darning in the clothes was done with a thread not available in Australia, a German wax thread. This detail suggested the man was either not Australian or had traveled extensively. More importantly, 3 different types of thread were found on the clothes, not available in Australia, suggesting professional tailoring, perhaps even custom work. Was he a tailor himself? Or someone who frequented high-end establishments? Also in the suitcase, a few unusual items. A brush for stenciling, a peculiar knife, and, critically, 3 pencils. One of them, a yellow pencil, contained a piece of paper that had been meticulously rolled up. Unrolled, it revealed some seemingly random characters, almost like an attempt at a code, or perhaps a language that wasn't English. Police also found a copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam in his possession, an almost complete, rare edition. His meticulous care in removing labels, contrasted with these peculiar items, deepens the mystery. The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam is a collection of Persian quatrains, often dealing with themes of carpe diem, fate, and mortality. A poetic, philosophical choice for a man with no identity. But it wasn't just any copy. This was a very specific edition, and here's where the case truly twists. On a tiny, rolled-up piece of paper found hidden in a secret pocket sewn into the Somerton Man's trousers were 2 words printed from the final page of this very book, Tamám Shud. In Persian, it means finished or ended. Was this a suicide note? A final message? Or something far more sinister? The police immediately launched a nationwide appeal to find the specific copy of the Rubaiyat from which Tamám should have been torn. A desperate hope that finding the book would lead them to the man. They distributed copies of the snippet to bookshops, libraries, and newspapers across Australia, appealing to the public for any information. This was their first tangible, if cryptic, lead, and then a breakthrough. In July 1949, a man named George Thomson came forward. He had found a copy of the Rubaiyat on the back seat of his unlocked car, parked near Somerton Beach, the night before the body was discovered. He'd thought nothing of it, simply tossed it into his glove box. He presented it to the police, and the torn page perfectly matched the Tamám Shud snippet. Finally, they had the source book. But what new secrets would it reveal? Inside the recovered Rubaiyat, on the back cover, was a new, astonishing discovery. Faintly written in pencil, almost invisible, was a series of capital letters, arranged in 5 lines. It looked like a code. Rigobab, Mliawi, Tbimpinip, Mliaboayak, Itin Samskap. Was this a message? A final will? A list of names? The police, now facing not just an unidentified body, but an apparent coded message, realized this case was far more complex than simple misadventure. They had entered the world of espionage, secret societies, or perhaps something even stranger. And directly beneath the mysterious code, almost as an afterthought, was another penciled detail, a telephone number. This was a verifiable, tangible lead. Police quickly traced the number. It belonged to a woman, a nurse named Jessica Thomson, living in Glenelg, just a short distance from Somerton Beach. For the first time, a human connection to the Somerton Man emerged from the shadows. Could she be the key to unlocking this entire mystery? Detectives visited Jessica Thomson. She admitted she had owned such a copy of the Rubaiyat, but claimed she had given it to a man named Alfred Boxall, a military officer, years prior. She denied any knowledge of the Somerton Man. When shown a plaster bust of the deceased man's head, she reportedly looked as if she was about to faint and quickly averted her eyes, refusing to look at it again. Her reaction was highly suspicious. Was she hiding something? The police then tracked down Alfred Boxall. And here's the mind-bending twist. Alfred Boxall was alive and well, and he still had his copy of the Rubaiyat, the same edition Jessica Thomson claimed to have given him. He even presented it to the police, complete with the final Tamám Shud page intact. This meant Jessica had given away another copy, or perhaps was lying. Was the Somerton Man's Rubaiyat the one she gave away? If so, why deny knowing him? And why did her copy have a handwritten poem on the back, while the Somerton Man's had a code and her phone number? Act I ends with a whirlwind of questions. Who was Jessica Thomson to the Somerton Man? And why did she lie? Join us in Act 2 as we dig deeper into the enigmatic life of Jessica Thomson and the tantalizing possibility that the Somerton Man's identity was closer than anyone ever imagined. We left off with a bombshell. Alfred Boxall was alive, and the nurse, Jessica Thomson, was clearly shaken. To the police, she became known by her nickname, Jestin, the name she used to sign the book she gave Boxall. Jessica lived just 400 meters from where the body was found. She claimed she didn't know him, yet when she saw his death mask, she nearly collapsed. Was this the reaction of a stranger, or a woman looking at the ghost of a man she once loved? Or perhaps a man she had betrayed? To understand why the police were so suspicious, we have to look at the world in 1948. The Cold War was freezing over. Just north of Adelaide sat Woomera, a top-secret rocket testing range. Intelligence agencies were on high alert for Soviet sleepers. A man with no labels, a secret code, and a dead-drop location like a beach? He didn't just look like a victim. He looked like a spy who had been retired permanently. Decades later, researchers uncovered a detail the 1948 police missed. Jessica Thomson had a son, Robin. As photos of Robin emerged, the resemblance to the Somerton Man was uncanny. But it wasn't just the face. Remember the Somerton Man's rare physical traits? The missing teeth and the unusual ear shape? Robin Thomson shared both. The odds of two unrelated people having this specific combination of genetic anomalies? Astronomical. The 5-line code found in the book was sent to the best naval cryptographers and military intelligence minds. They compared it to every known cipher. Their conclusion? It wasn't a standard code. Some thought it was the first letters of English words, a mnemonic for a poem. Others thought it was a one-time pad, a cipher that is mathematically impossible to break without the key. If the Somerton Man was a spy, his secrets died with him in those scrambled letters. If he was murdered, how? The autopsy found no common poisons. But in 1948, certain substances like digitalis or strepanthin could stop a heart without leaving a trace that the technology of the time could detect. Digitalis causes the heart to seize, mimicking a natural heart attack. Did someone slip a tasteless drop into his Army Club cigarettes? Or was in the pasty he ate for dinner? Police sent the Somerton Man's fingerprints and photos across the globe. Scotland Yard, the FBI, even the KGB informally. No one claimed him. He wasn't on any passenger manifest. He wasn't reported missing by a wife, a mother, or a boss. It was as if he had dropped from the sky onto that sand. In the suitcase, the name T. Keane led to dozens of Keanes, but none were him. Was Keane his real name, or the name of the man he was pretending to be? By the end of 1949, with no name and no answers, the Somerton Man was buried in a plain grave in Adelaide. His headstone simply read, "Here lies the unknown man who was found at Somerton Beach." But the mystery didn't go into the ground with him, because years later, a new witness would emerge claiming they saw a man carrying a body on his shoulders across the sand that night. And more importantly, modern science was about to do the impossible, wake the dead. Act 2 ends at the graveside, but in Act 3, we're going to dig him up. For decades, the case went cold, until Professor Derek Abbott of the University of Adelaide became obsessed. He didn't just see a corpse, he saw a mathematical puzzle. Abbott realized that while the man's body was buried, pieces of him still existed in the archives. He began a relentless quest to find biological material, the plaster bust, the clothing, and most importantly, the hidden hairs caught in the death mask. In a stroke of luck that feels like a movie script, It was discovered that when the plaster death mask was made in 1949, several of the man's hairs were accidentally trapped in the wet plaster. These weren't just hairs, they were time capsules. Abbott fought for years to get permission to extract them, hoping that modern mitochondrial DNA sequencing could provide a link to a living descendant. The hairs weren't enough for a full profile. Abbott needed more. He petitioned the government to exhume the body. For years, the answer was no. The government argued that the man's right to rest in peace outweighed public curiosity. But Abbott argued this wasn't curiosity, it was justice. Finally, in 2021, the Attorney General of South Australia gave the order. The grave would be opened. On a cool May morning, police and forensic teams descended on West Terrace Cemetery. Under a white tent to shield the work from the public and the press, they began to dig. After 7 decades in the Australian soil, what would be left? Would there be enough bone? Enough teeth? The world held its breath as the investigators reached the depth of the 1949 casket. While the bones were being analyzed, Abbott teamed up with Colleen Fitzpatrick, a world-renowned forensic genealogist. They used genetic genealogy, the same tech used to catch the Golden State Killer. By comparing the DNA from the hair to millions of profiles on public databases like Ancestry.com and 23andMe, they began to build a massive family tree, looking for a cluster of relatives that led to a single missing man. The DNA led them to a family in Melbourne. The tree grew smaller and smaller. They found a group of siblings. One was a baker, one was a soldier, and then they found a brother who seemed to vanish from the records in late 1948. A man who liked poetry, who had a background in electrical engineering, and who had a reason to be in Adelaide. His name, Carl Charles Webb. Carl Webb wasn't a spy. Or was he? He was an electrical instrument maker. He liked betting on horses, explaining the code, which some now believe was a list of horses and stakes. He was in a troubled marriage with a woman named Dorothy Duffield. In early 1948, Dorothy left him and moved to South Australia. Suddenly, the Somerton Man's presence in Adelaide makes perfect, tragic sense. He wasn't there to steal secrets. He was looking for his wife. Abbott and his team finally found what the police had sought for 73 years, a photo of Carl Webb in life. When they laid the photo of the living Webb over the death mask of the Somerton Man, the match was undeniable. The mystery was solved, but a bigger question remained. If Carl Webb was the Somerton Man, why did he die alone on a beach with no labels in his clothes? And what was his connection to Jessica Thomson, the nurse who nearly fainted at his sight? The identity is found, but the story is just getting started. Join us for the final hour, Act 4, where we reconstruct the final days of Carl Webb. So, the Somerton Man finally has a name, Carl Charles Webb. Born in Melbourne in 1905, he was an electrical instrument maker, a talented engineer. He married Dorothy Maud Duffield. Their marriage was tumultuous, marked by frequent separations. He loved poetry, especially the rubaiyat, a detail that now makes perfect sense. He was a man with a profession, a home, and a troubled heart. Not a spy, not an international man of mystery, or so it seemed. In early 1948, Dorothy left Carl, moving from Melbourne to Butte, then eventually to the Adelaide suburb of Largs North with her new partner. Carl, heartbroken and perhaps desperate, followed her. We know he bought a train ticket from Melbourne to Adelaide on November 30th. He was trying to reconcile, to win her back. His journey wasn't for espionage, it was for love. Now, let's revisit Jessica Thomson, or Jestin. Her proximity to the beach, her reaction to the death mask, and her son Robin's uncanny resemblance to Carl Webb. The most compelling theory now is that Jessica was either Dorothy's sister or a close friend who was hiding a devastating secret. That Robin was Carl Webb's son, born of an affair, or perhaps a child of Dorothy's with Carl, and given up to Jessica to raise. This would explain Jestin's profound distress and her desperate attempts to distance herself from the deceased man. She wasn't just hiding his identity. She was hiding her own deep connection to him, and possibly a child. Let's piece together Carl Webb's final hours. He arrives in Adelaide on November 30th. He checks his suitcase at the station. He attempts to contact Dorothy, perhaps at her home in Largs North, a short distance from Somerton. Maybe he's rejected. Broken, he wanders to Somerton Beach. He takes off his coat, lights a cigarette, and sits against the seawall. Did he intend to take his own life, using a fast-acting, undetectable poison like digitalis? Or was he meeting someone who silenced him before he could speak? The mystery of how he died, while potentially natural, still carries a chilling ambiguity. Why cut out all the labels? If he was just a heartbroken man, why erase his identity so meticulously? Perhaps he wanted to disappear completely, to spare his family the shame of his death, especially if it was suicide. Or, if he was indeed murdered, the perpetrator stripped him to delay identification and obscure their tracks. The spy theory, though seemingly debunked by the Webb identification, could still hold a kernel of truth. Was he involved in something secret, even if it wasn't international espionage? Or was the erasure a desperate, final act of a man trying to escape his own life, his own pain? And what about the code? If Carl Webb wasn't a spy, was it really a list of horse racing bets, as some now suggest? The Mliawi could correspond to horse names and odds. Or was it something entirely personal? A final poem, a coded message to a loved one? The debate continues. The beauty of the Somerton Man case is that even with an identity, the details invite endless speculation. Even with Carl Webb's name, many questions remain. Was Robin Thomson truly his son? What did Jessica Thomson know? Who was the man seen carrying a body on the beach? We have a name, but the full narrative of the Somerton Man's final days, the precise cause of death, and the complete truth of his relationships may forever remain elusive. The case continues to haunt, reminding us that sometimes the greatest mysteries are found not in grand conspiracies, but in the quiet tragedies of ordinary lives. The Somerton Man case captivated the world for over 70 years, inspiring books, documentaries, and endless internet forums. It became a symbol of the unknown, of the fragility of identity, and the relentless human desire for answers. Carl Webb, the electrical engineer from Melbourne, found his identity through the dedication of a professor, the power of forensic genealogy, and a few strands of hair. His story reminds us that every person, even the nameless, leaves a trace. And sometimes, those traces can speak across decades, demanding to be heard. The file may be closed, but the story of the Somerton Man, Carl Webb, will forever echo as one of history's most profound and captivating mysteries.